African researchers are set to officially release the first of its kind large HIV vaccine efficacy study trial research called PrEP-VAC. Led by African researchers, PrEP-VAC is the first HIV vaccine efficacy trial to be conducted in East African countries, and it is the only HIV vaccine efficacy trial being conducted in the world at present. PrEP-VAC is testing two different ways to prevent HIV at the same time, which includes HIV vaccine regimens against a placebo or saline and a new form of oral pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP, against the existing standard for PrEP. Early this week, the full results of these study trials were presented to the African researchers in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Professor Pontiano Kalebu, the director Uganda Virus Research Institute, said the results presented to them were very interesting, though he did not disclose details of the research, saying there will be very well coordinated dissemination of the research to the key stakeholders. According to him, the researchers will engage various stakeholders like the volunteers and the health ministry, among others, before fully releasing this research during the International AIDS Conference slated for July this year.
Very interesting results, but I'm not supposed to disclose the details of these results. I'm not supposed to disclose because there will be very, very well coordinated dissemination of these results. First of all, to the key stakeholders, the communities where we conducted these studies in different countries, in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa. Key stakeholders like the Ministry of Health, key stakeholders like you at the right time. We are going to communicate them. When we're in Nairobi, we have been discussing how we are going to communicate. Yeah. Then immediately we have communicated to the stakeholders. These results are going to be presented at the International AIDS Conference in Munich that is coming in July. So we have a feeling they will cause some interesting reactions, but these results are also giving us, I think, more work to do, more science to do. Why? Even if a vaccine does not give you the results you require, let's say protection, and doesn't protect, it is again good science because you go and say why it did not protect.
In November 2023, the International Data Monitoring Committee sat and recommended to stop vaccinating people using this HIV vaccine after concluding that the vaccine won't show good efficacy, something that disappointed the researchers. Although Professor Kalebu was hesitant to disclose more details about the vaccine, he revealed during the Health Cafe organized by Health Journalists Network Uganda (HEJNU) in their offices in Kampala that the vaccine was safe, though not the way they wanted.
All the vaccines that have been made so far, since around 87, 88, they have moved on. Many candidate vaccines, hundreds tested in phase 1, some of phase 2, and we have had about 10 large studies to look at the efficacy of vaccine. None has worked except the one of Thailand, which showed some modest protection, about 31%. So they have tried vaccines that produce antibodies, they have not worked. Produce T cells, they have not worked. So I've told you that I was in Nairobi, I came back last night to discuss our large study that unfortunately has not worked. So what are people doing? They're going back now to the drawing board to make better vaccines. Yeah, because what we have now appears not to be working. Because a lot of the technology that was used for COVID vaccines was not new. Even messenger RNA was not new. In fact, the guy who worked on Moderna messenger RNA was working on HIV vaccines, yeah, by the ground, yeah. So, but because HIV is complicated, even messenger RNA may not, you can't just say we use messenger RNA. Shall we ever have an HIV vaccine? In science, you can't say never, because the knowledge keeps improving.
But it's other challenges we have are actually inconsistent recommendations. And these inconsistent recommendations from us experts, the people who do the trials, and other pseudo experts. And the pseudo experts who actually prove, and I think Prof spoke about one, who was later disqualified and removed from the register. And people speak with a lot of authority, whether knowing or not knowing, and showing all these dangers. And again, of course, the uncertainties of the outcomes of perceived long-term effects. And I think that's another area which is creating challenges for adult vaccination.
Researchers say getting HIV vaccine is very difficult as compared to COVID-19 vaccine because HIV gets integrated into the cells of the body and it remains there forever. He urged the populace to continue using the antibodies for neutralizing the virus as they still do more research to get a cure and a vaccine for HIV.
Because they have found some good antibodies that can neutralize the virus. But as I said, again, you need to make a cocktail because the virus again escapes. And there are studies to use these antibodies passively, inject them into, especially in babies during breastfeeding period when some children get infected, they're using these antibodies.
Meanwhile, Dr. Henry Chobe Bossam, the National Incident Manager for COVID-19 and Ebola at the Ministry of Health, revealed that over 25 million people have so far received COVID-19 vaccines and no major side effects have been recorded. Chobe disclosed that the country will soon have a malaria vaccine and he urged the journalists to put more effort in fighting vaccine hesitancy.
We have run a very successful COVID vaccination campaign to the extent, and I think the biggest single public health event, one of the biggest in this country, where we injected over 25 million doses in people successfully. And gladly, with no major reported side effects. A few have come up, but have been investigated because we had a robust system of looking for side effects. You may have covered a few of them, and which we think actually are not vaccine-related.
Esther Nakazi, the founder of Health Journalists Network in Uganda, HEJNU, said these media science cafes are held in their offices monthly.
We have been doing these media science cafes for a long time. I think it's now 10 years. They are funded by EVA. We have hosted Professor many times. He speaks to us as journalists. Most of these people here are journalists. And he also speaks to the editors. And we do meet every month here and we speak about science issues. And we hope that this partnership will continue because one of the things that we really need is government to also come and speak to us and be part of. The scientists really accept, but the government sometimes we do not get as many speakers as we want them to come, but we would appreciate if we also have, because the cafes are designed around having a scientist, having policy maker, which is government, and having a civil society activist.
Dilax Emi Alamu, Light TV, Kampala.
So that's why the question is very precise.